So David De Gea has announced after 12 years at Manchester United that he's left the club. He won't be going back. His contract expired on June the 30th, as we know, and there was talks between the club and De Gea to try and resolve the situation whereby he would stay on a reduced contract, but that offer no longer stands. De Gea left the club as a free agent last week, and we've had this kind of interim period as to wondering what's going on now. Erik ten Hag, the United manager, has clearly moved on. He's targeted Andre Onana, the Inter Milan goalkeeper, who he had at Ajax, who's a much more Ten Hag-style goalkeeper, good with his feet, plays much more advanced than De Gea, who's happy to come out of his penalty area and be a sweeper almost. De Gea really didn't fit Ten Hag's way of playing right from the start, but Ten Hag said all the right things and stuck with him last season, despite a lot of mistakes in his game, particularly in the Europa League against Sevilla and in the FA Cup final against Man City. But it has to be said, De Gea goes down as one of Man United's great players. He had a very good time at the club. He started with difficulties. He struggled initially, having replaced Edwin van der Sar. He was too slight. He came from Atletico Madrid. He was too slight, wasn't strong enough, and it took a while to adjust to the rigours of the English game. But for a period, certainly maybe 4 or 5 years ago, he was probably the best goalkeeper in the world, and he was regularly getting Man United's Player of the Season award. He was almost went to Real Madrid. When that didn't happen, it was a situation on the deadline day where a fax machine broke down in Madrid and scuppered the move. But at times he was the best goalkeeper in the world. But I think in recent years he has declined. He's no longer the goalkeeper that you can rely upon to be transformative. He's not good with his feet. And I think nowadays you see goalkeepers like Alisson Becker, Edison at Man City, Onana himself, Marc-Andre ter Stegen at Barcelona. They are excellent with their feet, and they almost give their team another defender, in the sense that they allow the defence to defend higher up the pitch, and that is what Ten Hag wants. He wants his goalkeeper to enable that to happen. He wants to play it from the back. So in many ways, De Gea was yesterday's goalkeeper to that extent, but still a very good goalkeeper, one of the best reaction goalkeepers you've ever seen. In terms of reflexes, he's still up there with the best. Natural ability, fantastic, but again, didn't quite make that transition that you need to do in this modern game to keep up with the best goalkeepers. He's no longer one of the best goalkeepers. We had the ESPNFC 100 recently, and he wasn't in the top 10. And for a goalkeeper like David De Gea, used to be the Man United goalkeeper, used to be the Spain goalkeeper, he really needs to be in the top 5, not the top 10. But he now faces an uncertain future. His issues were that he wanted to go back to Spain because he's been in England for the last 12 years. He's got a family in Spain. But the big clubs in Spain, Barcelona, Real Madrid, Atletico, don't need a goalkeeper. And the other clubs couldn't really afford him unless he's prepared to take a huge drop in wages. Then he may have to consider maybe going to Saudi Arabia or perhaps Inter Milan. You know, once Onana moves to United, which we expect to happen in the next few days, then De Gea might find a vacancy there. But ultimately, David De Gea, a great goalkeeper, won a Premier League title with Man United, but no longer that keeper that he was. And, you know, United have to move on. And his departure means that no player at Man United has now won the Premier League title at Man United. They've got a squad of players that haven't experienced that success at the club. So it's the end of an era, but time has to move on. I think Ten Hag has made the right choice. I think De Gea has made the right choice. It's time to move on.
Thank you very much for watching ESPN FC on YouTube. For more highlights, analysis and exclusive content, be sure to subscribe.